What is up, guys? It's your boy Solheim here, back with another Classic WoW video for Season of Discovery. Now, today we're going to be reacting to a video by Sarth titled Is Gatekeeping in Gaming Too Toxic? Classic World of Warcraft. Now, before even watching this video, I'm guessing it has to do with Season of Discovery and gatekeeping through logs. This is a topic I've been seeing quite a bit recently. It's like all over the place, both in-game, Reddit, YouTube comments, Twitter, you name it. People are not really fan of using logs, but then I still see them using logs as well. It's just with Nomer being a little bit more difficult than BFD was in Phase 1, Nomer in Phase 2 is a little bit more difficult, and people tend to use logs more to make their raids. I'm going to be watching this video, reacting a little bit, adding my own thoughts on this. I do have a couple of thoughts. Like, number one, I'm not the biggest fan of using logs. I do like parsing every now and then, but when making my pugs, for example, I barely ever check logs, and if I do, it's not really to find purple logs or orange ones, it's just to not invite someone who's doing the complete wrong thing, which you can check on the logs if they're attacking the wrong mob. Like, for example, on the first boss, people attack the Add Chomper instead of the first boss. Like, finding out if they do something completely wrong, or if a hunter literally only auto-shoots and never uses any buttons at all, or just if they use the wrong abilities, or if they only have grey parses, if they have 1 out of 6 bosses instead of a full 6 clear. It's more like to find out if they know what they're doing. If I can find someone with full greens or full blues, that's perfect. Just to, like, that way you know that they're doing something right, and I would rather have people that are able to listen to communications and do the mechanics. That's all you have to do, right, when doing a pug. Parsing is kind of weird in Classic WoW as well, because what you want to do to have a parse is schedule a parse run. You want to have all the world buffs you can, you want to have all the buffs you can, all the consumables you can, and you have to have the right combination of classes to get the right buffs and debuffs. Either way, let's check out the video.
Is gatekeeping killing Classic WoW? Are people taking it too far by requiring you to have all purple parses to even be able to enter into Gnomeregan? Because of course the game is really easy. It's Classic World of Warcraft. It's not supposed to be hard, but there's always two sides to every argument. So we're gonna try to cover both sides of it. And actually, while recording this, while doing this on stream, I kind of changed my own mind personally a little bit.
I just want to add to this, by the way, a friend of mine or a guildmate of mine was doing a pug the other day, because we had to cancel a guild raid and he was doing a pug, and he got into a pug where they had full 80 plus parses, so like purple parses in every single one had 80 plus pars, and they couldn't kill the last boss. Like, they were hard stuck on the last boss, because nobody knew what to do on any of the mechanics. People didn't even click the red buttons. There was one person clicking the red buttons, and even on Menagerie, they wiped twice. I want to mention that, because having good logs or good parses does not signal that you know the boss fights. It's more like you just had the perfect kill times, you just had to, like, press the right buttons, you had consumables, the right debuffs, the right buffs, and maybe as a mage you had the right procs at the right time. Playing a fire mage, like, the RNG element there is huge. But yeah, he was in a full purple parse run, a pug in that case, a voiceless pug though, just want to put that out there. I think having people be on Discord and talking and being communicative, being a little bit social, matters way more than having the right parses. People just being able and willing to listen to mechanics and then doing the mechanics matters way more.
So let's dive in. It doesn't take much to get a purple parse in this game. And that's why when people also come in and say a 50 parse is average, it's not. Auto shot, 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 auto shot. He's literally AFKing and he's getting blue parses. The game is so easy. Buffs, debuffs, consumables. The amount that these outscale gear itself is kind of insane. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Considering my fresh naked shaman is able to have all purple parses, right? And I know there's a lot of gatekeeping in the community. It's like, if you don't have good parses, you know, not fully naked anymore, but I mean, if I'm, let me just show you a piece of gear.
Okay. Oh no.
For reference.
Oh no.
This is an enhanced shaman, so luckily 4 stamina increases my DPS and 5 intellect It's not useless, you know. But it's okay because it's easy. It's literally, you can do it's an easy game. The game is genuinely really easy. Hopefully we'll have a rats video today also and we can watch that speedrun. The game itself is really easy. The gatekeeping is kind of insane, kind of over the top, right? There's so much gatekeeping in WoW Classic or in any version of World of Warcraft, kind of in any version of gaming now. But there also is the opposite side where you have logs like this guy.
I will say the gatekeeping in Classic WoW, to me, based on the games that I've played, it's way bigger than any other game that I've played. Especially for Classic WoW, where the raids literally are so easy. And people still want, like... I see people with grey parses requiring other people to have full 90+, because they want to have a free carry. And then I see people complaining about never getting into a raid when they haven't skilled up their poison skill, they're running the wrong runes, they put in less than minimum effort. They got to level 40, they did nothing else. And then they start complaining, oh, I can't find a raid. It's like, first of all, put in a little bit of effort, that's cool. I also see people requiring other people, like they put in bare minimum effort themselves, and then they require other people to put in all the effort on top of that. But for the gatekeeping purpose, I see Classic WoW being way more gatekeeping than it has to be. I've even done a Nomer with a bunch of people that literally just hit level 40. I did a pug, this was like 2 weeks ago at this point, where everyone in the raid had only just reached level 40. Nobody had a single item, like none of us had STV items. We just went into the raid, and we did the mechanics, and we had one wipe. It was a good time. So like, all you have to do is just be on Discord together, have a time, and do the mechanics. Just figure out who does what, right? And then play the game, get the loot, and have some fun.
Who had a 2-minute Grubbis wipe.
I will also say that I'm the one person who enjoys both aspects of this. I enjoy bringing in full of people that have no idea what to do and then just doing the raid together, but I also enjoy doing parse runs. The only thing is, when doing a parse run, everyone in the raid has to be on the same page. You have to be there to parse. That means having the right classes, the right combinations, the right buffs, the right debuffs, having everything be set up to do the best DPS possible, and then just not having any dumb wipes. Just everyone being on the same page. Doing a parse run I see nothing wrong with, but requiring people to have 95+ logs in a pug, to me that is absolutely stupid. I just want to put that out there. Nothing wrong with parsing, I love parsing, everything has its time and place. That's my TLDR there. Time and place for everything.
And his run was over. Oh my god, this is insane. Okay. So this mage's first cast was Living Bomb 2 seconds in. 6 seconds later, cast Scorch on Chomper, then cast Living Flame, still on Chomper. Second Living Bomb, Scorch, all on the wrong target. Now cast Scorch on a Cavern Deep Pillager? I forgot that adds spawn on this boss. He literally doesn't hit the boss until 30 seconds in. This is so, like, some gatekeeping can be merited. Has he casted a direct spell on Grubbis yet? No. Oh my god. Living Bomb, Living Bomb, Living Bomb, Living Bomb. Ignite from a Living Bomb crit right there. Frost Nova, 1 minute and 14 seconds in. First cast on Grubbis is a Scorch, 1 minute and 35 seconds into the fight.
Oh,
that
no.
is the first direct cast attacking the boss. 1 minute and 35 seconds into the fight. This is honestly mind-blowing. And this is the reason why people check logs. The gatekeeping is unreal. But the reason why logs are useful is because of things like this. If you're looking for a raid like this, where a player is unironically not hitting the boss for 1 minute and 35 seconds. Gatekeeping is essentially not inviting people because they don't have good enough parses. A lot of people get upset that there's people not inviting rogues because rogues aren't thought of as the meta class, or not inviting other classes because they don't have good enough parses. Let's take a gander at how someone does 73 DPS over the course of 1 minute and 52 seconds with 7 casts of multi-shot,
Okay.
7 casts of serpent sting. First, let's take a gander. Okay, so we have a ranged hunter using Bloodlash bow, a 1.8 speed bow that is purely for melee hunters. A ranged hunter that is running a beast mastery build. Perfect. 31-0. Cast Bestial Wrath, cast Serpent Sting. 2 seconds later, cast multi-shot. Cast Serpent Sting again. Cast Rapid Fire. And then spends over 10 seconds doing literally nothing. And then casts a Men Pet, which then proceeds to not...
You can just see the question mark in Zard's face. He's just like questioning everything.
I cast 1 attack for 8 more seconds. Oh my god. So on one side, gatekeeping is terrible. Actually, gatekeeping is atrocious. Like, not inviting someone because they don't have purple logs is really a meme, for the sake of it's so easy to do damage in the raid, but also there's two instances, right? Logs are a very good estimation of what you're doing in the raid, because it'll tell you exactly what someone is doing in the raid. So like, to look at someone's logs, if the raid was challenging at all, makes a lot of sense. It would make a ton of sense to look at someone's logs, not necessarily to see if they are parsing. That's like the biggest part that most people don't understand, is if someone was a good raid leader and wanted to look at your logs, they wouldn't be looking at it if in the sense of like, are you parsing well? No, they would look at like, what are you doing? It's like looking at healing logs. Healing logs, I don't want you to be a 99 parsing healer. That means you had a terrible raid. That means your raid stood in fire for really long, or you were a solo healer and everyone was taking damage, right? Getting parses on a healer is the biggest meme ever. But the logs will show what you're doing, right? And so you can take that at the same instance. If someone's parsing gray, they're obviously not playing the game, right? If they're parsing gray, they're definitely not playing the game. This guy, unironically, this raid had to have not been real. This is not real. This is not real. Sorry. There's a lot of gatekeeping in the community right now where people aren't inviting others because they don't have good enough logs. And there is a week or an add-on that was going around. We saw it all earlier this week. Look at this guy's a 98 warrior. 39% parse. Oh my god, dude. 71 to 71 is eating dirt. I'm just kidding. Where am I? I'm a little bit. That was going around that allowed you to scroll over someone and see what their logs were, or their best parse was, not their logs. You can see their best parse. It's basically the same thing as Raider IO in retail World of Warcraft. You can scroll over someone, or you can /who them, or you can inspect them, and you can see what they've done in the raid. This shaman hit level 40 literally 2 days ago. Now 3 days now, as of this morning. Now it's 3 days ago, right? I think there's 2 forms of thought. A lot of people are upset that if you can't get invited to raids without purple parses, which I didn't even realize are so low. BT dubs, like a 75 is a purple parse. I thought it was like 90s and above, and I was like, that makes sense. People should bring you if you're above like 70s. But I didn't realize purple parsing is it takes 0 skill. Essentially, it doesn't really take much work. I'm playing a shaman that was wearing gear like this, tribal pants from level 7. I've got the belt that is plus 12 intellect, does nothing for an enhanced shaman. It's literally an empty slot. It's a cloth spellcaster helm, level 20 weapon, and 2 rings that are completely empty slots also. If I go to eye level parses, I actually look pretty good, right? But the thing is, the biggest thing for anyone to do damage in a raid is, again, buffs, debuffs, and consumables. And my raid didn't have all of those. My raid doesn't have all of the debuffs.
Yeah, it's like if you want to parse high, it's buffs, the debuffs, consumables, and everyone being on the same page, because kill times matters a lot when it comes to parsing. So you want to like have faster kill times means you have more percentage uptime on your cooldowns, for example. So if you can kill a boss in 30 seconds, I think warriors benefits massively from that. But even like a mage, that means combustion is up for so long of the fight itself. And you can also have icy veins on those fights if it's under 30 seconds, which gives you a big, not really that big, but like it's a DPS increase over Living Flame if the bosses are under 30 seconds. So kill times, buffs, debuffs, consumables matters a lot when it comes to parsing.
And I can show you, but it has some of them. It has some of them. First of all, I spent a tiny bit of gold. I spent like 6 gold on this character just to have some consumables so I wasn't useless. We have 2 rogues. We have no leader of the pack. We're not gonna have sunders in this raid. We have an arms warrior. We do get homunculi in some of them, right? Do I have matching speed weapons? No, I just hit level 40. No, not. I have 2 terrible weapons for this situation. I have a fresh, literally 2 days ago. One thing that most people don't do, and I'm still shocked that most people don't do this, is track debuffs. If you're a physical DPS, you're definitely gonna want Curse of Wreck, Fairy Fire, and Sunder up on the boss. If you don't have those, what are you doing? Warriors complaining that they can't parse without Wind Fury. Of course you can't. The warriors are useless without Wind Fury totem. That's the World of Warcraft. But if you don't have debuffs, you're not going to do damage. I asked at the beginning of this raid if it was kosher, if it was okay if I asked for buffs or debuffs to go up, like if they weren't up during the raid. I asked if that was okay in the raid because I didn't want to be rude. Because most raids you get in, people don't know how to press those buttons, right? People don't press those buttons in most raids. Let's just be honest. And then we got homunculus up on this boss, which allows me to do a lot more damage. Now you can see everyone's starting to do a lot more damage. Everyone in here is really geared, which is why I kind of went to this second raid. It's still a long fight. It's twice as long as like a normal Grubbus fight, but at least everyone in here is really geared, except for me. I'm the fresh character. But you see how much damage goes up once you start having debuffs up on a boss? Like damage just ramps up for everyone once debuffs go up on a boss. But you're a pro player? No, I haven't even looked up a guide on how to play Shaman. I'm just pressing buttons. I literally have 4 things bound. I press this button, 2, 3, 4, and F. That's all I was pressing. Literal fresh character, right? So I think it's okay if gatekeeping asks you to have purple parses, maybe blue. If you have below blue parses though, you're probably not playing the game. And that's fair if people look at it and say, what's going on, right? Like you're probably not doing most things, or your group's not doing most things. Like if you look at let's look at this one the day before where I'm doing less damage because I have no gear whatsoever, but we also have, okay, Degrade is up, Fairy Fire not up, Curse of Recklessness not up, no Curse of Elements up. But I believe we had a Warlock. Do we have no Warlock? We might have no Warlock. Oh, there's a Warlock and a Boomkin. Neither of them pressing the buttons, one global that would make everybody do more damage. I think blue is fine. The gatekeeping of people to be upset if they're not invited without having purple though, you only need a 70. I didn't even realize how low of a parse you needed for a purple. That's like I would say elitist, sure, right? One day after you hit level 40 to be able to do 600 DPS on a fight that doesn't have debuffs up the whole time, and it's twice as long as it should be.
You know, I think this is where I'm going to be different than Sarth, where he says like requiring purple parses. If I understood this correctly, by the way, which I might not have, but if I understand this correctly, he says requiring purple parses is fine, because if you don't have purple, you're not playing the game. I'm on the other side where I just want people to have blue or green, because that way, like, have some parses, don't have gray parses, blue and green, and have a full 6 out of 6 clear. That to me shows that you have done the raid, you're not AFK, you're not just dying every single boss fight, you're doing something, and then just be on Discord, be willing to communicate, and do the mechanics. That's what I'm personally looking for, if I'm ever using logs, which I usually don't use logs when it comes to making my plugs, even though I should sometimes, because there's always 1 or 2 people that sneak in that have no idea what they're doing. So I should just use logs to make sure they have done a full 6 out of 6, but I just can't be bothered. I don't know why, I just can't be bothered. But if I was going to, or when the few times that I do, just check for a full 6 out of 6 clear, or ask for their main to see for a full 6 out of 6 clear, or make sure they're not just full grey parse. To me, I just want to see that they can push certain buttons, and they do know their class to some degree.
Shamans are unbelievably overpowered, but parsing is only against other people of your class. So to get a 90 parse against all other shamans in the world is crazy, because shaman is a very overpowered class. Shaman is, I would argue, the first time I've seen a class genuinely be broken. Yeah, Scorpion Hunter was broken. Explosive shot, obviously. Scorpion Hunter was broken, and then Shaman is just incredibly overpowered, right? You are so strong for not having to do much. So gatekeeping is okay to a point, but you don't need the meta. As I think you did it yesterday. Zar did a raid with only people that parsed blues or below.
Yeah, perfect.
Only people that had blue or below parses. The raid is genuinely that easy. World of Warcraft Classic is an easy raid. So like, there's a lot of groups not inviting rogues because they don't want rogues. A good rogue does amazing, but like, if people just understand the game, there's not really mechanics. Realistically, technically there is, but every single mechanic can be ignored and cheesed. The bare minimum that you should ask of people, and the only thing that people should.
A good rogue will do well, but sadly, like, we have had 4 different rogues so far. They've all had the grey parses. So personally, I just don't have the best experience with rogues. And actually, I'll take it back. We've had 5 rogues, 1 is not doing grey parses. Yeah, 4 are and 1 is not. So personally, I haven't really had the best experience with rogues. But I've also watched Simon Ice, so rogues can do well. It's just, to me at the moment, good rogues are so rare.
Need to do, I don't care if you do damage, is press your buttons. And we can even see it in this raid, and this is gatekeeping right now. I personally would not invite this druid, or I would invite him, but ask him multiple times to put up fairy fire. It is so easy. You can have literal single digit parses and be carried by 3 people through the whole raid. All you need to do is press that one button, and there's no point not doing it. I don't like trash talking people, but I definitely ask them to put up buffs and debuffs. I would bring a rogue any day, dude. Rogues are great. Rogues are very, very solid. A good rogue pumps, especially if you look at like a fast fight. Look at this fight. Look at Grubbus. Okay, this rogue did no damage. He's tanking though. I think he's tanking. I'm pretty sure this is the tank. Wow, I don't know what happened. This is a bad estimate. All right, let's look at Bobcat. I don't know what the fuck happened there. These 2 buttons are so incredibly powerful, and if anyone doesn't track these in your raid, I highly suggest getting a tracker that shows you what buffs and debuffs are up. But just do debuffs. You know what I mean? It's so simple. There's no need to be gatekeeping in WoW Classic. The raid is super easy, but if you want to succeed in World of Warcraft Classic specifically towards the long run, I would highly suggest learning about buffs and debuffs, just tracking them and pressing that button, because that button is everything. And I'm in this raid, I was tilting myself. I was like, is this really happening? And I didn't want to. Look at my face. Let me show you my face really fast.
Oh my days, dude. Okay, that's yep. He's mad. He's mad.
That's the amount of damage you get.
Okay, dude, why am I lagging?
Though, I'm sorry. The amount of damage you get. And your average raid, though, your average raid does not do this. This above your average raid, right? Again, guys, again, this new shaman, I've only been a shaman for 2 days. 2 days. The gatekeeping of, like, if they won't invite me if I don't have a purple parse, you really don't need to do much to get purple parses. I didn't realize it just takes like a 70 to get a purple parse. You don't need to even do anything. You could get blue parses by basically not playing the game, apparently. So you don't even need a good comp, unless you're a warrior. You don't need a good group or gear, apparently. Straight up, if you want your parse to go from a blue to a purple parse instantly, literally without you changing one thing, ask your raid to put up debuffs. That's it. Playing a warrior in a raid that doesn't have any debuffs on the boss is, I would alt F4. It is not your fault whatsoever. A warrior cannot do damage. Not once throughout this entire raid was Fairy Fire cast. This is a 90 parsing player, right? So this is like the epitome, actually, of parses don't show what someone's bringing to the raid. This is the epitome of that. This guy had like a 92 average, because I had the add-on at the time. He's got a 98.4 average. He's a absolute pumper. Absolute pumper, dude. I would rather invite a boomkin that does half of this DPS and puts up Fairy Fire. You rarely see it, but when people complain and say parsers, people that parse do it by cheesing mechanics and ignoring mechanics and not helping the raid, this is that instance.
Yep.
This is like the number one thing everyone should do is just get a weak aura that tracks debuffs. Like, everyone should have it, because you'll start noticing it and you'll be like, oh, that's weird. I did like 200, 300 DPS less than I should have on that fight. It's that big. It's that big. Buffs and debuffs are that big. They really are. That's World of Warcraft. The bare minimum of what you should do is just press your one button. I don't know why we always have this combo in the WoW community about if inviting based on parses should be a thing or not. What else should I be invited based off of? I don't want my group to completely toss a coin. If I'm a human beings or first generation 1940s, that's true. Like we saw with this person who waited a minute and 35 seconds to cast his first Scorch on the boss. Of course, I'm gonna look at this guy's log and be like, maybe the bar should be set at purple parses. Auto shot, 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 auto shot. He's literally AFKing and he's getting blue parses. The game is so easy. To a point, yes, gatekeeping is bad. You shouldn't be like, I don't need to bring a rogue. But at the same time, being upset that someone won't invite you because you don't have purple parses is like, you need to do almost the bare minimum to get a purple parse average. If you just actually press your buttons, you'll get a purple parse. That was an unironic blue parsing hunter who genuinely did not press buttons for about 10 seconds at a time. Yeah, I haven't even looked up a guide for shaman. I'm just pressing buttons I feel like I should press. I don't even have all my runes. I just got my totems. It doesn't take much to get a purple parse in this game. And that's why when people also come in and say a 50 parse is average, it's not. An average person that's not doing that much is probably around the purple parse. To complain that you're not invited to a group because you can't get purple parses is probably actually at this point, and I started this conversation wanting this to go the other direction and realizing, yeah, damn it, I went the other direction. And I guess I'm being elitist, but I don't think I am at this point now that we've seen the bare minimum barrier to entry. I again would rather invite a blue parsing druid than this druid, by the way. If I didn't have a second druid, because this druid won't put up fairy fire. This is the 96th highest ranked druid in the world. I would rather bring a druid that actually didn't cast an ability and press fairy fire the whole time. But again, just moral of the story. Moral of the story, World of Warcraft Classic, you won't do damage if you don't have your own personal buffs, party buffs, and debuffs up. Those are more important than gear. Rotations are very simple in this game. Very, 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 very simple. Mechanics are basically non-existent. The biggest thing you can do to increase your damage and increase your parse is to put up the debuffs. If you remember in Classic WoW, everyone had the /say thing that said like Sunders didn't go up until 3.6 seconds in. Sunder armor in Classic World of Warcraft had to be your very first global. Even though it wasn't a damage dealing ability, it would increase your damage if every warrior just sundered first, right? You'd be like, you would be pissed. If it took 5 seconds for 5 sunders to go up, you would be pissed. You would be pissed, and I'm kicking these warriors from my raid, right? It's so easy. And no, it's not caring about your parse. It's not caring about your parse. It's caring about playing the game correctly, right? It's not about your parse. I think I literally just showed that, like, I would rather have someone just play the game correctly than bring a 99 parser. And there's like an anti-gatekeeping mentality that a lot of players have. They're like, I just log in to play the game. I don't want to like do any of that. It's like that. It doesn't take any effort whatsoever. So that's all. That's basically my rant. Yeah. I need to go get the stupid fire.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Him showing the parts of the hunter doing full blues. I mean, it makes sense why you would want people to have purple, I guess. But for me, whenever I'm checking logs, once again, what I'm checking for is that you've killed all 6 bosses and you don't have grey parses. In that case, I'm happy, right? And also, I will just say, I was going to say something cool. I forgot what I was going to say, dude. But when it comes to parsing, like, a lot of people that are parsing very high, like the Boomkin in that scenario, they are just skipping, like, they don't want to waste their one global on a fairy fire because they care so much about their parse that having the starfire or moonfire on that global means so much to them. So instead of helping the group, they would rather just help themselves by gimping the group. Literally, everyone in the group is going to deal less DPS now for not having fairy fire, but that one Boomkin will deal slightly more DPS by having one extra global in a probably 2-minute fight, or like a 1-minute fight. So like one global means more to him than putting up one fairy fire, like one DPSing global, like a sunfire or a moonfire, which is kind of weird. Now also, I think Sarth touched on this really quickly during the video sometime, but whenever, let's just say I'm making a pug, I don't have many metrics to judge whoever whispers me what they are like. Like, the only metrics I have when it comes to, let's just say I'm making a pug, I get 5 mages whispering me invite at the same time. I basically have the option to either invite based on who whispered first, or I can invite you based on your name, or I can invite you based on your logs. If I care about performance, I go for logs. If I meme, I go for a name. If I want to be fair, I go for whoever whispered first, right? What most people do there as the raid leaders, they go for whoever has the best logs. And this is like something I keep seeing. It is the people playing the most popular classes that keep complaining about logs being an issue. Like rogues, warriors, melee hunters, regular hunters, even mages sometimes. It's just the classes that are least in demand because everyone, their mother, their house pets, and even like their grandparents, everyone is playing the same class, and those are the people complaining about the logs being a problem, because they have to compete for their raid spots. If you just don't want logs to ever be a problem for you, go to a healer. Be a healer, be a boomkin, be a shadow priest, be a feral druid, be a class or a role that is in high demand every single time. I literally see healers being paid to raid while still being allowed to roll on loot. Like, as a priest, you can sell your lockout, you can get paid probably 100 gold per raid, like per reset, 200 gold per week, while also being able to roll on the loot, because there's such a big demand for healers, especially on Living Flame. People literally pay healers to raid. There's also every single weekly reset, or like every single raid reset, there's a massive demand for feral druids in pugs. So if you want to play a feral druid, sometimes you literally get paid for being a feral as well, and bringing wild strikes. That's all you have to do. You can be a naked feral, roll on all the loot, get loot to yourself. Like, automatic crowd pummeler is basically feral prio, unless you have like a ret paladin or something else there. But as an alliance, we don't have any shamans, there's barely any ret paladins right now. So you can get a lot of loot by being a feral, and you can literally be naked and still get paid sometimes. Just to do the raid. So if you're struggling to get into a raid, maybe consider going into a class that is more in demand. Instead of, like, in my guild as well, we're lacking Shadow Priest, and still people would rather level up a rogue to have a 10% chance of joining a raid, rather than going Shadow Priest and having a guaranteed raid spot. As an example, I don't know, it feels like the classes that are in least demand are being played the most and are complaining the most about having to go through the issue, go through the effort of gearing up their character, getting all the stuff they can to perform their best. It's a competitive environment. If you want to play a class that is not in demand because it's really overpopulated, it's going to be competitive. I think I'll end the video there. That's all I have to say on the topic. I don't think logs should be as popular as they are right now, but when it comes to like the most popular classes, I understand. It's going to be competitive. If you're playing a rogue and there's not that much of a demand for rogues in the raid, it's going to be competitive to get those raid spots. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, bit of a long one today, but hey, hopefully you enjoyed me talking and listening to Sarth talking as well. Once again, leave a like on the video, subscribe for more Classic WoW videos as well, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you again very soon.